What's going on, guys? This is James Allen. I am recording this on Monday, March 2nd, 2026. In the last episode, we talked about using Kaspa's Kpub on our server side to generate a Kaspa Wallet address for our users. That way, we could send them our custom KRC20 token as they take the appropriate action within our application. So it's a great way to give the user a crypto wallet address without intimidating them with 24-word seed phrase, and you could send them your KRC20 token. So everyone wins. Now, before we talk about the implementation of this feature, this server-side feature, I need to discuss with you Kaspa's HD wallet derivation path rules. It's something I kind of need to explain to you before going into the technical implementation, because if you don't understand what these derivation path rules are, you're going to be kind of lost to the whole code side of things. It's sort of like you can't work on databases without understanding primary keys, right? Like that would be a disaster if you're like managing databases and you don't understand something as simple as primary or foreign keys. Well, it's the same thing with like generating these wallet addresses, right? You need to understand these HD wallet derivation path rules so that like you know what you're doing in the whole process. But before we even get into these path rules, right, there are certain terms I think I need to clear out. Like I said, Kaspa HD wallet, right? Like what the hell is HD, right? So HD stands for hierarchical deterministic. I'm going to say this one more time. An HD wallet stands for hierarchical deterministic. Hierarchical because the keys are organized into a tree structure, and deterministic because the same seed will give you the same key and the same wallet addresses, right? So it's deterministic, right? The same seed will give you the same keys and the same addresses, so I think you get it why they call it hierarchical deterministic. And these standards, these wallet standards are created so that as you build wallets, you could trace their origin, you could recover wallets, you could understand their path. It's so that like as you're generating wallet from different key branches, you understand their roots, their structure, and how they are formatted. In fact, there are three standards. There are three wallet standards you need to know, really, for the whole wallet creation process. It's BIP32, BIP39, and BIP44. There's more BIPs, but these are the main three that you really need to know. So BIP39, that's the wallet standard that generates those 12 to 24 mnemonic phrases, mnemonic words you often see. So those 12 to 24 seed phrases, that's usually from BIP39. It's basically the human interface generation side of things, right? Now, the next standard you need to understand or know about is BIP32. And what BIP32 does is it takes those 24 mnemonic words that BIP39 created, and it generates a master key from those seed phrases, right? Again, I'm going to say this one more time. BIP32 takes those seed phrase and generate a master key out of them. It's basically the mathematical engine of the HD wallet, right? It not only creates the master key, it also allows that master key to deterministically generate a bunch of child keys, right? And each child key is mathematically linked to the parent, right? Like I said, BIP32 is like the mathematical engine of out of the three standards we're talking about. It creates the public and private master key from the seed phrase that BIP39 generates. And it also allows for child derivation keys. Pretty straightforward. The last one is BIP44. And while BIP32 creates you the tree structure, BIP44 basically tells you how to navigate it, right? It lays out the navigation rules of that, tree structure that is generated by BIP32. And Bit 44 is basically the standard that tells you, okay, what each level mean. It's the derivation scheme, right? And there's a standard that, like a general standard that bit 44 outlines that I think you should know. And I'm gonna put it somewhere for you guys to see. And there's different level of that, path. And one way to see this, right, is that the master key is your root directory, right? And all these child keys are like subfolders in that root directory. I don't know if you see what I'm saying, right? So the master key is the root directory, and then as you create child keys, you have subfolders within that master directory. But if you were to map out the bit 44 standard as to what each level represent, it looks like this. The first level, which is M, stands for the master key, right? That's the root. That's the master, right? The second level, which they call purpose, basically outline the derivation scheme, right? There are different wallet derivation schemes. Bit 44 is just one of them, and each of them have different purposes. But for all you need to know is that the next level purpose basically outline what derivation scheme the wallet is using. So master, purpose or derivation scheme. The next level is a coin type. So each coin has like a registered name. Bitcoin, I believe, is 0. Ethereum is 60. And Kaspa is like 111, right? So each blockchain network have they register different namespaces on the internet, right? And these namespaces are usually numbers. Different networks will have different numbers. So when you look at a path, like I said, the first level is the master root. The second level is a purpose or the derivation scheme. The third level tells you the coin type or the blockchain network, right? So different blockchain will have different numbers for that. So if you see 0, that tells you it's Bitcoin. If you see 60, that tells you, okay, this is Ethereum. If you see 11111, that's Kaspa, which is ironic. 111 is my number, right? Which is pretty cool. A bit of serendipity there. Okay. So after coin type, the next level that you have is account. And this is something that's created by the wallet owner. So the wallet owner can create different accounts to basically compartmentalize different expenditures. So you can imagine you could have an account for like a spending account, a treasury account, a business account, right? So the wallet owner creates his own accounts based on his own logic, right? But you could imagine each account you create will increment that number. So again, the next level is account. The next level after account is change. And the value for that is either 0 or 1, right? It's 0 if the wallet is receiving funds, and it's 1 if it's receiving the change. It's an internal address for receiving the change. Because remember, Kaspa uses UTXO, right? So by that, what I mean is, like, if you have 10 Kaspa in your wallet and you buy something for 3 Kaspa, you have to consume the whole 10 Kaspa, right? And the person gets their 3 Kaspa, and the 7 Kaspa comes back to you as change, right? This is what they mean by the unspent transaction model, right? So because it's UTXO, you need a change address, an internal change address, and this subsection is basically letting you know whether it's receiving or it's the internal address for change. So if it's 0, that's receiving. If it's 1, that's the address, that's the internal address to receive the change. And the last one, the last level of the path is the address index, right? And the address index is a simple counter that goes up every time a new path is created. So as you can imagine, each user that joins your app, you will create a new path for that user, right? And that new path, you would basically change that last value because it would be the address index. And that new path is what will create your wallet address. Because if you remember, your wallet address is just a string of numbers and letters, right? It doesn't look like a path, but the path is what generates the wallet address. So I'm going to go over this one more time. M stands for master. The second level is purpose, which basically outlined the derivation scheme the wallet is using. The third level is coin type, which is basically the registered namespace for that blockchain network. Different blockchain have different numbers. Kaspa is 1111, like I said. Bitcoin is 0, Ethereum is 60. But you can imagine Solana has their own number and stuff like that. The other level following it is account, which is basically something that the wallet owner creates. It's basically separation of concerns. So it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, depending on like how many different accounts they have for different purposes. The next level after account is change or receiving. If it's 0, it's a receiving address. If it's 1, it's an internal change address. And the last level is the path index. And this is what you increment each time you generate a new wallet address for your user. Now, when you're using the Kpub on the server side, you're basically going to export it up to the account level. You're going to export the path up to the account level. And I'm going to lay out a visual, like an example for you to see. If you look at the example, you will see M44111111. So M, that's the master key. 44 is using BIP44 derivation scheme. 111111, that's Kaspa, right? You're looking at an actual derivation path. The next level after the 6 ones is 0. That's the account type. So 0 is the first account type that I've created for assigning wallet addresses to my users. They're read-only. They're going to be read-only address types for my users. You can imagine if I want like a treasury account, for an example, I could create like a path of 1 that would be a whole separate account. That's the treasury account, and any wallet, any path, any child key under that path would fall under the treasury account. But we're looking at 0. The first account I'm going to create is a Cityscape account, a Cityscape users account, and that's what 0 is dedicated for. It's a choice that I've decided on. The next level after it, you see 0, which tells you this is a receiving address, right? If I had changed it to 1, this is like the internal change address, but they're all 0. So as you can imagine, all my users will have a read-only wallet address. And as you could tell in this example here, the only thing that's changing is the address index, right? Is the address index, right? So you're seeing 1, 2, 3. So each time a user finishes onboarding on Cityscape, that's the number that goes up. And this is what I mean by when you use Kpub on your back end, you're going to export the Kpub path up to the account level. And then you're going to use that to derive new path, which will then be used to generate that wallet address, that read-only wallet address for your users. So I hope this made sense. I hope you understand BIP32, BIP39, BIP44. I hope you understand the derivation path rule that I've laid out in this video, why they're important. And in the next episode, we're going to look at how to actually implement this on the back end. In any case, my misfits, you know what to do. Don't forget to press that like button and support me on Patreon. I will see you next time.